Nikita, I think we are good to start now.
Okay, Sarthak. Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
And thanks all for joining the session. So, we will just start with the session. So, few things. If you have like any queries at any point, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions. And if you want to ask to chat, so you can just post your queries in the chat as well. So I will try to make the session as interactive as possible. And so if you feel like discussing anything, if you want me to uh, cover something again, or if you want to ask me anything, then just feel free to ask. Okay, so this session is about strategies for career transformation in quantitative research and quantitative trading domains. So I assume some of you might be complete freshers who would be targeting quant domains, and some of you might be actually working in quant finance roles. So I will try to keep this session very generic so that even someone who is a complete fresher and doesn't have much idea about the quant domain is able to grasp whatever I'll be covering. So let's start with the session. Something about me. Hi, I am Nikita, and I'm currently working as a quantitative researcher at JP Morgan. And previously, I had also interned at Samsung as a software developer, and I graduated from IIT Kanpur in 2021 with a degree in electrical engineering. And I have been mentoring different my college juniors and other people in my LinkedIn community and other professionals for quant roles like since last 2 years through different platforms. And recently, I have joined Place for offering my mentorship to you guys. So next, I would like to know something about you, like what's your current level of experience, and what are the kinds of firms you are targeting, and what is your preparation status? So maybe, Sarthak, can you help me with uh, uh, generating the polls for these? Uh,
Polls are
Sarthak,
live, Nikita. You can
okay,
guide how they can take the poll.
okay, that's great. Okay, so can you guys answer these polls?
Yes.
Let me know once everyone has answered.
Yeah, I have answered.
Okay, okay. So most of you are, I guess, working professionals already in the quant domain, and some of you are freshers. Okay, and so most of you are targeting high frequency trading firms and hedge funds. And next is product based companies. Okay, so this gives me a fair idea about my audience. So I'll try to cover the topics in today's agenda according to your preferences. So I'll try to cover more about Jeffries and Rose there. And okay, so so next, uh, I will cover these topics in the session. So first, I will talk about the different quant finance roles. So you might know, like, there are different kinds of roles even within quant finance. So you would have heard about roles like quantitative researcher, quantitative strategist, quantitative developer, and then we have different kinds of quants like model quants and validation quants. So there are different kinds of roles, and what exactly are these roles and how do they differ? And next, we are going to cover about the technical skill sets which are required for any quant role, and what are the bare minimum core competencies required for a quant role. And next, we will also see what are some good to have skill sets. So, after discussing about the technical skill sets, we will also discuss about the compensation which these quantitative firms offer you straight out of college and in the entry level, and also like how these grow as you progress your career in the quantitative roles. Next, I will cover about the long-term mentorship program here at Place. So, what exactly I'm gonna offer you guys in the mentorship program, and how is that gonna help you in your preparation journey and when you are targeting these roles and you're applying to different training firms. And next, I will also cover about my placement journey and my interview experience and how I cracked JP Morgan quant role. Okay, so I will just start the session. Uh, Before going into these topics, it's time for a quiz. This question I have picked from one of the James Street's interview questions. So, I would like you guys to actually take a moment to think through this question and try to answer this question yourself. So maybe if someone wants to give it a try, you can unmute yourself, or if you're not comfortable doing so, you can post your answer in the chat. So the question is like you have a die and you earn the amount of dollars equal to whatever value comes on the die, and you have the option of rolling it again. But the thing is, when will you roll it again? Uh, so what should be your strategy for doing this? So does anyone want to make a guess? How will you solve this question? Anyone? Okay, so Kasi Raj, you're saying that if you get three or less, then you will roll again. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
Siddharth
correct.
is
And
also saying Nikita. He has raised his
okay,
hand.
Siddharth, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear
so
you.
so I think uh, what I think about this is that the probability of getting any number on a dice is 1/6. So
Yeah.
I would not take a chance again, because let's say I get a 3, and in the second chance I have an equal probability of getting a 2, 1, or a 4 or 5 or 6. So I like just based on probability, I will not take a chance, because getting a number higher or lower is having an equal probability.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so the right answer for this is if uh, we first calculate like the expectation of getting a value on the dice. So all the numbers are equally likely from 1 to 6. So the expected value of its row is like 3.5. So if you get anything less than 3, like if you get 1 to 3, anything less than 3.5, which is 1 to 3, you will throw the dice again, and otherwise you just take whatever the face value is. I hope it is clear to everyone. Any questions with any queries with respect to this? No, I guess. So I'll just start with this topic. So what are the different quant finance roles? So if you see that there are trading firms and there are these investment banks. So the roles at trading firms might look very different from the roles which are there in investment banks and other investment firms. So, if I talk about the roles at investment banks, so there are risk management roles which specially are specialized on the risk management domain, and then there are some roles related to the pricing. So, when I talk about pricing, so for different asset classes, there are different quant roles in pricing and valuation. And then there can also be some quant roles in some fintech companies. So I'll just try to make you understand what are these roles, like how are these roles different from each other, and basically what kinds of skills and what kind of work is done in these roles. So, if I start with a model development role, so it basically means that you will be working on developing models for the risk management, and then you have a validation kind of role. So, this is particularly related to model validation. So, when you have the models, the pricing models, for validating those models, you will need some model validation techniques. So there are some models which basically do the validation of your front office models, the pricing models. Then there are some implementation controls. So they only uh, work on implementing the different products you have in your any of the asset class. So there are different kinds of products you must have heard about, uh, like products like swaps, and you must have heard about different derivative products like options, futures, forwards. So there are these implementation quants who basically implement these pricing models for these products. And then we also have the front office quants. They work directly with the traders, so they provide the models. They work on the models which these traders use on their uh, trading, in their trading. And then we have some roles related to research quants. So research quants, they basically try to find new strategies and new ways of pricing. So there are some standard ways of how derivative pricing and all is done, but these research quants, they come up with new types of strategies on how pricing can be done, because this quant finance is also an area of active research. So we need research quants. We also have statistical arbitrage quants. So these quants basically work on different kinds of statistical arbitrage techniques. So looking at the market data, how they can leverage the arbitrage, and how they can create the trading strategies. Then we have developers. So quant developers, they are basically like programmers in the quantitative finance role. So their role is more specialized in programming and coding rather than on the developing models and trading strategies. So, and product implementation, this is the same which I had already covered. So they work on the implementation of different products in different asset classes. So these are the different kinds of roles which you see in investment banks for quant. And if I look at firms like uh, trading firms, proprietary trading firms, and we have the trading firms which specialize in high frequency. So there, most of the roles are related to algorithmic trading, quantitative trading, high frequency trading, and automated trading. So they basically also employ artificial intelligence and machine learning in stock trading. So here your uh, core skill sets would be like if you're working in a high frequency trading firm, then they will require you to work on low latency systems. So you would know that low latency systems are basically built using C++. But if you are just doing something like as simple as creating your strategy, intraday strategy, something like that, and you are doing back testing of your strategy. So all of that can be done in Python. So I think this gives you a fair idea like what kind of programming languages are required for these roles. So if you are targeting low latency systems, which are required in high frequency roles. So you should be very well versed with C++, and Python is also like very much important for these roles because all of the back testing and all of the implementation of these strategies that is done in Python. And nowadays, as data science and AI, all of that is being used in quantitative roles because they are trying to predict the market movements through machine learning models. So, different packages of Python, which are specialized in machine learning, these are also like very important to know for someone who is targeting quant roles in these high frequency trading firms and uh, hedge funds. So next I will cover basic skill sets which are required for quant interviews. So let's say you're a complete fresher. So if I'm the hiring manager, I would like to see some of the core skill sets, like which are the four essential skills for any of the quant role. Like if it's a generic interview, someone will interview you on your coding skills, on your statistics and probability knowledge, and your linear algebra. So, like these are the must-haves because the advanced courses and concepts are built on these foundations. So, once you are well versed with the foundations, then only you can be doing good at the other different skill sets which are required for quant roles. So, if you are a fresher, I would recommend you to be very good at your problem solving skills, on your knowledge of probability and statistics, linear algebra, and your programming skills. So, and next, if you also do some courses in econometrics, machine learning, convex optimization, that will be also very great. Like that will showcase that you're actually interested in controls and you want to pursue a career. And someone who is a professional, for them, the foundations along with the good to have, like they will be necessary. So when a recruiter or a hiring manager, they are looking at your resume, they will try to see how good are you in your different skill sets, like how good knowledge of financial markets do you have? Have you actually worked on some of the trading strategies, or like have you ideated your own trading strategy? So these are, and if you are targeting high frequency firms and you are not like, if you are a professional, so they will actually expect you that you have worked on some high frequency strategies. So, like if you have not worked in your professional journey, as a quant, and if you want to switch to a quant role, then you need to showcase your interest in terms of projects. Like if you don't have a background in quant and if you are trying to switch to a quant role, then I would suggest to showcase your knowledge and skills through projects and your portfolio. Like if you have worked on a trading strategy on your own from scratch, so that shows to a potential recruiter or a hiring manager that you are interested and you can actually do the work. So, in terms of skill sets, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask anyone. Okay, so I see some questions. What is the difference between HFT trading, quant trading, and algorithmic trading? So, high frequency trading is basically the your trading strategies are being executed within nanoseconds. So for these, you require like low latency systems, and it requires your knowledge on C++ programming and also a good knowledge of your mathematical skills, probability, and statistics. So HFT trading, like there are certain firms who specialize in HFT. You must have heard about uh, firms like Tower Research, Graviton, Quadai. All of these firms are specialized in high frequency trading and quant trading. So quant trading can be also like intraday trading, which is not really high frequency trading. So everything which is done in a quantitative role. So all of those kinds of uh, roles can be covered in quant trading. And then you have algorithmic trading. So algorithmic trading is slightly different from quant trading, but more or less like it will just require you to know the knowledge on market, like on the financial markets, and how good are you on your programming skills. Next, you have asked me, can you please name a few proprietary trading firms in India? So, I have already told you some of the names for the HFT firms. So, there are several firms. Uh, so, there is one firm called as Quant. Then there are some hedge funds also. We have Quant, D Shaw, Millennium. All of these are uh, proprietary trading firms, and we also have some so some of the hedge funds which are not there in India, basically. So these are you must have heard about Optiver, Mu Sigma, and we have Maverick Derivatives. So there are basically you can just also Google about these firms, so you will get the entire list. But these are few names which just came to my mind. Uh, so I'll just move on to the next question. Can FRM help in getting into quant as there are extensive subjects? Okay, so there are these two kinds of courses, CFA and FRM. So CFA is more specialized into different kinds of financial roles, but uh, definitely having a CFA will give you an edge in quant finance roles. Like it will obviously enhance your knowledge on finance. And if you want to pursue like FRM, then I would say FRM will make you specialize more towards the risk quant rather than uh, quantitative trader. Like I don't see like having an FRM and how it will help you in a quantitative trader role. But if you are specifically targeting towards risk quant roles, then I think FRM is good to do. That is my take on this one. And another question is, can you elaborate a little more on projects in terms of what kinds of projects would look good on a resume for someone switching to quant roles? Okay, so Neil, basically it depends on like what kind of firms are you targeting. So if you want to target high frequency firms and you're targeting for a trader role, then it is very important that you have actually worked on some trading strategy. When I say that, then it means that you should have worked like from starting, ideating the strategy, you have done the entire implementation of the strategy, and you have done the back testing, and it goes live. So you should have done something related to trading strategies. And if you just want to target a normal quantitative analyst or a quantitative research kind of role, then doing some projects in like derivative pricing, which I can think of, or maybe you can do a project like which uses machine learning for predicting some market movement, etc. So these are some kind of projects which I can think of. But there can be more such projects which you can also search. Like I have seen some good projects on GitHub as well. So maybe something like you have implemented Black-Scholes pricing model, or maybe you have come up with a particular kind of project wherein you are calculating different Greeks for any financial instrument or product. So these would actually showcase your skills. So then it will completely depend like what kind of roles are you targeting, what kind of firms are you targeting, and based on that you can decide what kind of project you will do for showcasing your skill sets. Any more questions? Anyone? Any more questions? If no questions, then maybe I'll just go on the next topic if this one is clear. So here basically you need your logic and reasoning skills. So uh, in interviews, your interviewer can ask you mathematical puzzles, brain teasers, and questions to test your logic and reasoning skills. Then, if you have done courses like econometrics, then they can question you on regression, then hypothesis testing, and they can actually give you like hypothetical situations where you have some data and you are required to do some analysis. And uh, apart from that, they will obviously test you on your programming skills. So, like, what level of DSA is required for quant roles? So, about that, I would say that you should be good in data structures, and in particular if you are good with dynamic programming and if you are good with graphs, then that is very important in a quant role, because these are the areas which are actually required in a quant job. So if you are good with dynamic programming and if you are good with graph algorithms, that will help. So you can practice on lead code or interview bit, and if you can solve like easy to medium level of questions, that should be good. But there are some firms which actually require like very good level of programming skills, especially if you are applying for a algorithmic trader or a quantitative developer role. So in those roles, basically you will require very strong programming skills. So even you can expect some very difficult programming questions. And if I talk about statistics and probabilities, so any undergrad level of course should suffice for statistics and probability. And there are several books also. Maybe if you have heard about 50 challenging problems in probability. So these kinds of books, and there are several websites as well. So they can actually help you in your preparation for such quant interviews. And about the knowledge of financial markets, like for this one, you will actually have to follow the markets, and if you like know about what's going on in the markets, and if you are keen and inquisitive, then that will be very helpful in your interviews. You can showcase your uh, enthusiasm for a quant role. So next I will cover about the compensation. So I think this is one of the reasons why like many of the people who are from an engineering background want to shift to quant roles, or if you are a fresher then you might be targeting quant roles. So the main thing is the compensation. So when I talk about the compensation, so this compensation can look very different for a high frequency trading firm, and it can be very different for investment banks, what they pay you for a quant role. And the compensations numbers which I have written here, so these are basically your uh, salaries for entry level roles, means you're fresh out of college. So once you grow in these roles for like 3, 4 years, then your growth in compensation would also be exponential. So if I just cover some numbers for HFT firms, so like in India, you must have heard about Graviton, Quadai. So these actually pay you like 1.2 CR per annum, and there are some others which might, so it would be somewhere around 60 to 1.2 if you are a fresh grad in any of the high frequency trading firm control. And in abroad, so you must have heard about the Jane Street. So recently it had hired few people last year, so it had paid 4 crores. So this was not in India, but still it's a very good lucrative salary. And if I talk about hedge funds, so in hedge funds you must have heard about WorldCoin, Millennium, D-Shock. So basically they pay you somewhere around 45 lakhs to 70 lakhs, and this is just their base compensation. So like as a fresher, they won't pay you that much base, but sorry, that much bonus. But like once you grow in these roles for like 2, 3 years, your bonus component will be more than your base component. So this is also true for your high frequency trading firms. So and next are your investment banks. So investment banks, they pay you in the range from 30 to 38. So this is their CTC for the fresh grads. And as you progress, your bonus component also increases. But the key difference here is the bonus component for these high frequency trading firms and the hedge funds, their bonus components can exceed the base like 2, 3 years down the line. But like it won't be the case for investment bank until you reach a very senior level. So next, I will like to. So do you have any questions till here? Okay, so I see one question from Yogesh. For quant strategists and research roles also require extensive programming skills. So Yogesh, the extensive programming skills, uh, I would say that you should have decent programming skills. I mean, decent in the sense that you should have done at least lead code medium level of questions. So if you're able to do that, I think that is decent. But uh, then I won't say that you might not be asked a hard level of question. So some firms, some interviewer might ask you, but it's always good to have at least if you have done like lead code medium questions, so that should be good enough. And you should always target to upskill your programming skills. So these might like for some firms they might actually require you to uh, code very well. So you will actually need to have good programming skills even for a quant strategist or a research role. Like this can be different for investment banks, so they might not require very great level of skills, programming skills, but still you need some decent level of programming skills. But if you're targeting a hedge fund or an HFT, then you should definitely have very good programming skills. Any more questions on this slide or so far? Okay, so I'll just move to next section. So how I cracked my JP Morgan interview. So JP Morgan had come for the placements in our college, and they were open for like all the branches. There was no restriction as such, and the only criteria was that they had shortlisted people with a CGPA over 7. So the process was very straightforward. Like first we had to apply on the company portal, and next there was an assessment round. So people with CGPA greater than 7, they were shortlisted for an online test. And in the test, there were two coding questions and some of the MCQs were related to maths, like basic maths, which you would have done in JEE, and some questions on probability and statistics, and some on basic programming skills. So this was the test. After the test, they had shortlisted around, I think, around 30 people for interview rounds. And in interviews, so for me, they had taken 3 technical interviews. So in technical interviews, they mostly covered questions related to data structures. My previous experience, so I had done internships in software roles. So they had questioned me like why I want to switch to a quant role. So like if you're switching from a non-quant role to a quant role, then this will be a question which will be asked to you guys as well. Uh, so you should be prepared to answer this one. Then I was also asked some of the questions, like which were very basic calculus related questions, and some questions were related to probability and statistics. So these were the kind of questions which were asked from me. And then there was a general behavioral round and an HR discussion. And post that, I was shortlisted and I was given the final offer. So this was my experience. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so next, I will move towards mentorship at three place. Okay, so basically the main aim. Okay, so I see one question. As you mentioned, calculus-based questions in the interview, can you elaborate what maths topics are important? Okay, so Neil, on maths topics, you should know basic calculus, like you must have uh, the one which you had done for your JE or your level one courses in undergrad. So if you have done questions like solving limit problems and some generic calculus based questions. So these were the kinds of questions. So you can be asked about, okay, so uh, also related to statistical distribution. So I remember I was asked questions related to statistical distributions and some were related to basic understanding of probability, expectations, calculating expectations, and these were the major kind of questions which were asked. And if you want to prepare for this role, so the kinds of topics which you will focus on is basically you should do your calculus, revisit your calculus courses, and you can also revisit linear algebra course. And apart from linear algebra, probability statistics. And if you have done some advanced levels of courses, like some courses related to stochastic calculus, so that will also show that you are very good at the core skills which are required for a quant role. So these are the major topics which are tested in mathematics. So even some level of econometrics uh, also helps. So I remember I had done one course in game theory. So I was also asked like related to questions related to game theory. So if you have done any courses which you think might be relevant for a quant role, and if you have mentioned those courses, so you should be like ready to answer those questions as well. So I will be covering about the mentorship at three plays. So how will I help you in your journey for us from targeting a quant role to actually getting the job? So uh, first, it will start with a trial session. If you guys want to book a trial session, then you can book a trial session. And post that, we will start with our long-term mentorship program. So, long-term mentorship program basically is to help you throughout your journey, starting from the preparation, like how will your preparation strategy look like? How will I help you in upskilling yourself and constantly evaluating your skills? Like, are you ready for applying? And once you are ready, then we will start with your applications. Then I will help you in applying for jobs and getting referrals. So I have covered all these in the next slide. So how will your long-term mentorship roadmap look like? So I understand that each one of you is very different. Like each one of you will have very different kind of background and the level of preparation and your skill sets. So, some of you might be very good at programming and not that great at maths and finance. And some of you might be good at maths and finance, but not that great in programming. And even some of you might be like freshers, and some of you would be professionals. So, depending on that, all of you will require a different kind of roadmap for targeting such roles. So, what I here provide at Prephase is a very personalized roadmap for your preparation, depending on what your current skill sets are and what are you targeting, what kind of roles are you targeting, and what is your goal, end goal. Like you want to apply for jobs in next 2 to 3 months, or if you want to apply, if you're a fresher, you want to apply for jobs uh, maybe 6 months down the line. So depending on that, how will your strategy, preparation strategy look like? How I'm going to help you in the application and interview stage. So I will just briefly cover how this mentorship program will look like. So for preparation stage, how I'm going to help you, I will help you with the right resources. So you might be not that much familiar that which are the right resources. So there are hundreds of resources out there if you just search online. And if you ask different people, they will refer to you like you can read this book or you can do this or that. But uh, it is actually important to refer to the right kinds of resources for someone who has gone through the interview experiences. So they might know better than others who might not have actually gone through the process. So I will help you with providing the right resources. Then I will also help you with problem solving sessions. So if you see in any of these quant interviews, whenever you are asked to solve a problem, challenging probability question or a programming question, so how will you actually tackle that question, and how will you actually like what will be your approach, and how will you showcase your approach and your problem solving skills? So that is one area where I will help you. I will also help you with your any of the doubts which you might have uh, during your preparation journey, and I will have regular follow-ups. Then I will also provide you project assistance. So one of you had just asked me about like what kinds of projects are essential for a role. So in the mentorship I will actually, depending on what firms are you targeting and what is your current level, like are you a fresher or you are a professional, based on that, I will assist you on the kinds of projects you can showcase in your resume and you can work on those projects. Then I will also help you with resume review sessions. So I will help you with creating a ATS friendly resume and actually review your resumes so that you can tailor that very good resume which will fit in for all the kinds of quant roles you will be applying for. And then I will also be helping you with time bound assignments. So I will provide you assignments for assessing your preparation level, and which will also give you confidence that okay, now I am prepared to applying for jobs. I will also provide you personalized roadmap and your preparation strategy, which will be very different for each one of you. Next, I'm going to cover how I'm going to help you in your application stage and interview stage. So, I will help you with applications. So, where to apply, how to apply, and any company specific guidance. So, depending on what kinds of firms you are targeting, I will help you. Okay, so for these particular firms, these are the areas where they test, and these are the kinds of interviews they take. So depending on that, okay, so you should be focusing on this particular topics. So like there are firms who only test your mathematical skills, uh, and then there will be firms who will be actually focusing more on your programming skills. Then there will also be some firms who require a background in machine learning and AI as well. So depending on the firms, I will give you the company specific guidance. Apart from that, I will help you. I will take mock interview rounds before your in your application stage before your actual interviews to assess like how is your current preparation level and what are the areas where you can improve and how are you doing in the interview rounds in the mock interviews. Then I will also help you with the interview techniques like which are some of the areas where you can improve and how you should answer a question. So let's say if you have got any kind of problem solving question, how will you go about solving that? What should be your approach? And what will be your thought process? How will you communicate your whatever you are telling to the interviewer? So all of that, all of those strategies and all of those techniques I will cover. Apart from that, I will also help you with gaining referrals. So I will provide you referral in the company which I am working, and also I will help you connect with my professional network for referrals in the companies in which you want to apply. Then I will also help you in salary negotiation tips. So at in your interview like post your interviews you will have a salary negotiation round. So for experienced professionals it is very much important to actually have good strategies on negotiating good salary for their skills. Then I will also be helping you with any kind of career counseling you require, like if you want to decide, okay, so Nikita, I'm not very sure whether I should be targeting HFTs or not, or if you have any kinds of doubts, and if you have, let's say, you have applied to multiple companies and now you're stuck, okay, whose offer should I accept? So, any kind of question, decision which you want me to help with. So, I will help you on all those, on any kind of career counseling. So, maybe you want me to actually ask about in a long-term perspective, how will your growth journey look like in a particular role? So, any kind of and any other kind of question which you might have, I will help you with that. And also, I understand that this applying and interviewing phase is very draining. So, I will help. I will provide you the emotional support during this entire process, and I will help you achieve your desired job in your desired role. So that's all what I had for this session. And now I am open to any of the questions which you might have. Any questions, guys?
Nikita, I see one question.
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.